And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly, truly fantastic day today. On this Monday, we're going to get to the super thanks, and this will actually be the super thanks from the past couple of weeks. So buckle up, people. This is going to be a long one. And as always, the topic of the video comes from one of the super thanks. But before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to each and every person who continues to support this channel. You guys are more appreciated than I could put into words. I want to give a special shout out to the members of the channel. Shout out to Gary, aka G the Great One. Shout out to Adidas 20. Shout out to Dr. Les Barrett, to Dwayne S. Honor, to Thanos Snap Feminism, and to the newest member, Keith Brazil. Thank you guys so much for joining the membership. Like I said, greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the super thanks. And so first up, shout out to Michael Silberg 9059. This is from my How LeBron James Was Allowed to Destroy the NBA video. He comes through with the $10 super thanks, and he says, Adam Silver has outsourced league management to Rich Paul Clutch Sports for so long now that competitive pride has been completely replaced by contract size, as pro players' only objective way to compare themselves to each other. When play on the court is so obviously managed by officials to achieve exciting, close finishes and league-preferred outcomes, players' stats and wins no longer measure skill and performance. Clutch Sports, on behalf of Adam Silver, has killed the connection between hard work and success in the NBA. Now there are no players left for Adam Silver to transition the face of the league to. Adam Silver's made a deal with the devil and has run the league off a cliff. A new commissioner with a focus on the integrity of the game is the only possible way the NBA can regain legitimacy. Shout out to Michael Silberg 9059, and I agree with this. Yeah, we are, and I feel like the reasons for the lack of competition go so far. But like I said, to me, one of the reasons is, in addition to everything you said here, you know, Clutch Sports has infiltrated everything probably more than we all can imagine, to be honest. But like I said, to me, it kind of all falls back to Michael Jordan leaving the league. And to me, so many things happened when Michael Jordan left the league. First of all, there was this need to fill the shoes of the greatest player to ever play the game, which inevitably led to desperation, which inevitably led to trying to manufacture the next Michael Jordan, and then you get LeBron James, who is the manufactured king. But also what happened is they started changing all these rules. And in my opinion, they had to change the rules to create excitement in the game, because no one was at the level of a Michael Jordan to create that excitement with the rules in place as they were. So Michael Jordan, he could score and he could be exciting through all of the physical defense. And he was so great, he brought the level of the entire NBA up. Again, because most people, no matter how great they are, they play up to their competition in some respect or another. You know, everybody to varying degrees, but most people pretty much play up to their competition. In other words, if you're playing someone who you know might embarrass you, that's gonna cause, if you're a competitor, that's gonna cause you to play probably beyond what you play on average, just because you don't want to get embarrassed. Like, you're gonna dig in and find a way to, like I said, to raise your game to another level. And this is what Michael Jordan did for the entire NBA, is he raised it to another level because Michael Jordan was capable of being exciting through the physical play. You know, you go back and watch those videos of Michael Jordan scoring through slaps on the head and, you know, 4 and 5 people pulling at his arms. And a lot of times those wouldn't even get called as fouls. Sometimes they would, but sometimes they wouldn't. And so, yeah. So when Michael Jordan retired, I feel like a lot of these things that they started doing to the league was to try to compensate and bring the excitement that one man was responsible for. And instead of leaving the NBA as it was, because again, obstacles are what create greatness, they started making everything easier without realizing, again, that you're making it easier, meaning no player is going to have to rise to the occasion. When you keep making it easier to score, when you take out the physicality, you know, you take out the hand checking, you want to give freedom of movement. And now we're shooting everything from the 3-point line, so it's the mid-range is completely vanished from the game. It's like when you do all these things, players don't have to rise to the occasion to do anything, on top of load management and everything else. But anyway, you know, this is a topic we could go on and on and on about. But shout out to @MichaelSilberg9059. Like I said, right on the money with that. Adam Silver has let Unclutched Sports infiltrate the league in a way. And unfortunately, like I said, I don't think we're going to see the NBA recover, especially after this year. This year is a new low. Next up, shout out to @SwanDaily. This is coming from my Allen Iverson didn't go hard in practice according to Vernon Maxwell video. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, great video. Once again, UC, it's like your channel is becoming bigger than basketball. In other words, you're giving everyone game on how to achieve greatness. Now you brought up this topic. Can you respond to John Stockton's statement about how MJ didn't let his athleticism hold him back? That quote really sums up MJ's work ethic, and I would love to get your uncommon sense on it. Now, I've heard some people talk about this, but I actually haven't seen the clip where he said this or read the article that is from. But just based on what you said, I feel like that is a great way to put that, is that MJ didn't let his athleticism hold him back. Because at the end of the day, really, this is what athleticism does to a lot of people. In other words, they let the fact that athleticism makes the game easier in some ways prevent them from learning the basics of the game. LeBron James is the great example for many things wrong or many things not to do when you're trying to be the best basketball player you can be. But athletics, I feel like, for example, if you know people who are naturally good at something, a lot of times those people, it's hard to get them to work as hard because they just have a knack for figuring things out. And so most of the time, the hardest workers at things are the least talented people. Most of the time, the people who are the least talented are the hardest workers. And that is because they don't have any advantages to hold on to. They don't have any advantages to give them a boost. So they literally have to learn whatever that thing is that they want to learn from the very basic beginning. And they can't skip any steps. But yeah, that is the, I would say, the genius of Michael Jordan, the competitiveness of Michael Jordan, the work ethic of Michael Jordan, the killer mentality of Michael Jordan is he didn't let the fact that he was ultra athletic, again, arguably the most athletic player we've seen in basketball, he didn't let that hold him back. He didn't let that give him a false sense of, oh, well, I already got a leg up on everybody, so I'm good how I am. Again, like LeBron James. He said, okay, I got this athleticism now. If I'm going to dominate the way I want to dominate, I still have to learn the fundamentals better than anybody else. Again, it's easy to say someone is the most athletic and the most fundamentally sound, but if you really think about it, that rarely happens. I don't know if it's ever happened in the NBA. I don't know if that generally happens in sports, period. Whether you're talking about football or basketball or soccer or anything. I don't know if the most athletic person to play a sport normally is the most fundamentally sound at that sport. Because, again, once you have that athleticism, you normally get a false sense of, or you have a head start. You have a head start on everybody. You have a natural advantage on everybody that you can get comfortable in that advantage. So, yeah, I think that really just, like I said, that just speaks to, like I said, it's arguable that MJ's competitiveness was was a mental illness to some degree. His need to constantly be on top, his need to constantly let everyone know that you are not on my level. And again, I've said this before, take away MJ's killer mentality, which is what I think led to his work ethic, and we don't see the same MJ. Even if he has the same vertical jump, even if he has the same speed, even if he has the same footwork, take away that mentality and we don't get the same MJ. And obviously take away the work ethic, but I really think the mentality is what drove the work ethic. It was his need to dominate that drove that work ethic. It was his need to not have any holes in his game so he can dominate. So that you can't have a leg up on him in anything that drove that work ethic. But shout out to @Swan Daily. Thank you so much for the continued support of the channel. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. And next up, shout out to Swan Daily again, coming through with another $2 super thanks. And this is coming from my D Wade. Tells how he really feels about LeBron James' not one, not two, not three moment. And he says, now you brought up Ant Edwards. Do you think he'll still win a championship? I personally don't. When I watched that opening night game, he was chucking up a lot of threes instead of driving to the basket. The latter strategy works better for him. It's like he self-sabotaged to fit into the mold of the modern NBA, and I really couldn't say that better myself, except I don't know if he had to fit into the mold. I think he's a perfect example of the modern NBA. I will say this about Anthony Edwards. I don't think there's been a player in the NBA that I went from liking to disliking quicker than Anthony Edwards. I don't believe there's been one player in the history of even LeBron James. LeBron James, like I said, I was neutral to LeBron at the beginning. And it took a few years before I started to say, okay, like this guy's, he's not what they're saying he is. And it took a real long time for me to really actually dislike LeBron James, to completely dislike the guy. But Anthony Edwards, he's done this in record time, just for the simple fact, like I said, to me, it's clear to me now that Anthony Edwards is just like all the rest, and that is he is reveling in the praise. Like, this is what drives him. Is the moment last year where he started getting a little bit of praise in the playoffs, where he got a little bit of praise for taking some accountability for those losses. It's like he's just been completely nosediving since then. Like saying ridiculous thing after ridiculous thing. And yes, you are correct. This year, he's chucking up threes. And I saw an interview or read an article where he was asked about that and basically said he doesn't give a F what anyone thinks about him chucking up threes. So, you know, I don't have any respect left for this guy, especially because, as you mentioned here in your comment, he was better when he was driving to the basket instead of chucking up all these threes. But anyway, to answer your question about do I think he's going to win a championship, I highly doubt it at this point. He seemed to have gotten so full of himself, and this year his game has regressed to me. So unless he, I don't know what number one is going to take some humility. Again, a lot of these players got this fake confidence going on, and I honestly believe that this fake confidence is also responsible for a lack of consistency. Like they're trying to use this fake confidence to take the place of the work ethic that it takes to actually develop consistency. So again, all these modern stars from Anthony Edwards to Ja Morant is like they talk a good game, they can put up some numbers, but they can't do it when it counts. They can't actually carry the team through when it counts. And even if they happen to do it here and there, they can't do it on a consistent basis, which is what it will take. But anyway, shout out to @SwanDaily. Thanks again for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to @QQ1981. This is coming from the same video about D Wade, and he comes through with the $10 super thanks, and he simply says thanks. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. You are greatly appreciated. And next up, we have shout out to @SwanDaily again, coming through with another $2 super thanks. And this is coming from my Bronny James is still trash in the G League. You LeBron James fanboys. He's still trash in the G League. But I know what you're going to say. Give him some time. He's the 55th pick. But anyway, he says, the Bronny stuff aside, how much do you think politics influence the NBA draft these days? Quincy Olivari legit looked like a first-round draft in those preseason games and had a career high of 43 points in college. I'm genuinely starting to believe that the NBA draft isn't a meritocracy at all. So I have to be honest. I don't follow the NBA draft enough to really make a comment on that, or to make a qualified comment. I will say that just because, again, it's hard to be that invested in the modern NBA. Again, I got League Pass this year, and I'm already regretting it. Like, I regret that I invested my money in League Pass to suffer through these games, because this is what's happening. It's suffering to try to watch the same game over and over again. This is what it is, people. It's the same game over and over again. Doesn't matter what team it is. It's chucking up threes, and no mid-range at all. Everybody's complaining. Half of everybody is traveling and taking the extra steps. It's just painful. But anyway, I will say this, just based on what happened this year. Now, this year with Bronny James, obviously we're looking at the extreme, I would say worst case scenario, but I would imagine that this stuff has had to be taking place to some degree for a very long time. You know, I would imagine that to some degree that this kind of stuff has taken place for a very long time. And I would say that because I just know, even, you know, back in high school, you would see that come into play at times. So I would imagine the higher up you get with more money involved, that it is taking place to a certain degree. You know, probably just never as extreme as getting a player inside the NBA who totally shouldn't be playing basketball. He should be playing video games because that's what he's actually good at. And he's probably good at video games because that's what he actually cares about. So, but yeah, shout out to @Swan Daily. Again, thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. You are greatly appreciated. And next up, shout out to @GNoLoads310. This is coming from my How LeBron James Destroyed Competition in the NBA. He comes through with the $10 super thanks, and he simply says, thanks. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. You are greatly appreciated. And next up, this is coming from the same video. Shout out to @GTheGreatOne. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, excellent work, Uncommon Sense. This video was surgical. We need more long videos like this. To answer your question, I think the competition level in the NBA is at about 20% out of 100 and continuously dropping. In fact, I look forward to the day where the Lakers are down by 1 point with 9 seconds on the shot clock and the opposing team goes and sits on the bench and lets LeBron throw Bronny a wide open, uncontested alley-oop to win the game. After the game, the opposing team will join the Lakers in their locker room to pop champagne and celebrate another in-season championship. That one right there would make him the GOAT in his eyes. It is funny that you say that, because honestly, I was just thinking about this earlier today. And what I was thinking is, you know what would not surprise me at all is if during this in-season tournament that they're probably going to rig for the Lakers, and that the Lakers would probably win so they can so that they can start saying LeBron James is 2-0 in in-season championships. He might be 4-6 in the finals, but he's 2-0 in in-season championships. But yeah, I was thinking to myself, it really wouldn't surprise me as if during the championship game of the Lakers in the in-season tournament, that during the final game, when the Lakers looks like they are definitely going to win, that they bring in Bronny James to try to say the first father and son championship ever won on the Lakers by LeBron James and Bronny James. It really would not surprise me at all if this was the case. Matter of fact, who knows? Maybe this is the whole reason behind them letting Bronny James come back and forth between the G League and the NBA. Maybe this is the whole reason, but yeah, shout out to @GTheGreatOne. Yeah, unfortunately, I have to agree with everything you said in this comment. Said the league is operating at about 20% out of 100% as far as competition level. Yeah, I mean, like I said, at this point, I honestly believe that these players are more concerned with what their skill looks like on the court than actually beating one another. I truly believe that. I believe that is their main concern, is looking like they're skilled, so that they can match up to the false narrative that's being promoted about this NBA, so that they can say, oh, our generation was more skilled than the 90s and 80s. I think it's almost like they're in a competition with the other eras rather than with each other. This is what it feels like. But anyway, shout out to @G the Great One. Thanks so much for the continued support in the channel. Thanks so much for being a channel member. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. And I truly can't thank you enough. Next up, one second here. All right, next up, shout out. I'm gonna have, oh, hold up. I think he put the pronunciation in the comment. So shout out to @Smitty Werben Yeager Manjensen. And he comes through with the $5 super thanks. And this is coming from the same video about LeBron James destroying the competition in the NBA. And he says, at 4:30, while I mostly agree that many players in today's NBA are prima donnas and aren't really likable at all, especially compared to players from past eras, I'll have to say that there's at least one exception to this argument. I personally find Nikola Jokic to be extremely likable and respectable NBA superstar who is sadly still highly underappreciated. The guy's a 3-time league MVP, finals MVP, 6-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA first team, 2-time All-NBA second team, NBA All-Rookie first team, and he's got one legit NBA championship under his belt. Today, he's regarded as one of, if not the best player in the league, getting triple doubles like it's just another day at the office, and also just achieved a historic triple double stat line. His high IQ is through the roof, and his fundamentals are rock solid. It's truly a joy to watch him play. On top of all that, he's very humble. He doesn't really care for the accolades and attention and demonstrates great leadership on the court. He possesses all the traits that would make him an all-time great, and unlike LeBron, he actually makes his teammates better. And even elevated Westbrook from a has-been to a solid role player who makes significant contributions to this squad on both ends of the court. I think it's criminal that he's often overlooked in these types of discussions. He's a breath of fresh air in an otherwise watered down league. Nevertheless, keep dropping those truth bombs. I know you'll probably butcher my handle, so let me help you out. And then he has the pronunciation of his name, and it says, holla at your boy. Thanks so much for the $5 super thanks. So I mostly agree. Now, if I'm being honest, when I was doing that video and I was thinking about likable players, Nikola Jokic came to mind. Now, I didn't say it because if I'm being honest, for me personally, the verdict is still out on him. Now, I will say he's definitely one of the more likable players in my eyes. But the verdict for me is still out on him for just because in some of his interviews, I've seen him come off a little nonchalant to where I can't figure out, how invested he is. Obviously, he plays great on the court, but just some of the interviews I seen with him left me wondering, like, hey, does this guy, is he really invested in the game like that? In terms of what he does on the court, and I would say Nikola Jokic is the only player that comes to mind. Like I said, even when I was doing that video, he did come to mind. I just didn't say it because, like I said, for me, the verdict is still out. Stephen Curry, kinda, again, but Stephen Curry kind of took a dive once I saw interviews where he was admitting to being complicit in wanting Kevin Durant to come to the Golden State Warriors and recruiting him to the Golden State Warriors. But yeah, I definitely don't have a problem with saying Nikola Jokic is one of the likable players, maybe the only likable player that I can think of, or at least come close. But shout out to @Smitty, Werben Yeager Man Jensen. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks, and thank you for the continued support on the channel. Next up, shout out to @GNoLows310, again coming through with the $5 super thanks, and he simply says thanks, and that was coming from my Adam Silver disrespects LeBron fans everywhere, because he told the truth and said Michael Jordan was the GOAT, which we all know LeBron James fans are allergic to truth. And last but not least, shout out to @ThisIsRise. And this is coming from my Mike Tyson and Jake Paul video. Comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, thanks. This is why I F with you, bro. You keep it 100 throughout the entire video. Jake Paul was running. When I posted that on my Facebook, so many people applauded it and called it smart. They undermine integrity. They don't praise warriors anymore because they're soft themselves. Netflix was trash. The judges with the women's fight was trash. All sports besides MMA are dying before our eyes. And I'm gonna have to take your word on that one, simply because I don't really watch MMA like that. But as far as the rest of the sports, you know, I have to agree. Like I said, I don't keep up with football the way that I used to. But in general, you can see this trend happening with all sports. It's like I said, clout is taking place of integrity as far as everything is concerned. It is no longer about how skilled you are at something. It is no longer about how hard you work at something. It is simply about, can you get on social media and get a lot of people to follow you? And if you can do that, then that will open the door to anything you want to do. Once you do that, once people hear, oh, he has 100,000 followers on Instagram, well, then you can go you can go step on the NBA court. You can find a way to get onto a football field. You can become a comic. You can become a chef. You can do anything that your heart desires, as long as you get that social media presence happening first, as long as you have the clout to do it. But yeah, shout out to @ThisIsRise. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. And as always, at the end of these videos, I have to tell you guys once again, thanks to each and every last person who continues to support the channel, and to encourage you guys to please continue to support the people who are giving you their honest takes and honest opinions on these topics. Shout out to Angry Old Hoops, Michael Jordan fans are the best, Sports and Fitness Rants, Dreamers Pro, 2 Raw, Ticket TV, Brandon Love Sports, Retro Heat Check, Phenomenal Fitness, Uncut Hoops. Who else? Who else am I missing? Man Down Sports, Sports Tea. Shout out to everyone who is delivering content with integrity, and please continue to support all of these content creators, and please to continue slapping these fanboys with the truth every chance you get. Thank you all so much. Let me know what you think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.